News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Brought to you by Turbo Launch Trampolines. The problem with most trampolines is that you can only bounce 4 or 5 feet into the air. But imagine the fun if you could bounce 75 feet in the air. When you bring home a Turbo Launch Trampoline, we guarantee that once your children step back onto solid ground, they will never accuse you of being boring again. The sky really is the limit with Turbo Launch Trampolines.
You know what the trick is there, Allan? You switch your neighbor's trampoline with one of those turbo launch things. Oh, boy. And get the video camera.
Yeah.
That's when the fun begins.
This time of year, the only two thoughts that came to my mind was, well, here you go, pumpkin. Here's you a new turbo lift, and now you can go pumpkin chunkin'.
Absolutely. So welcome to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning.
I'm Allan Gilbert with GeekySideTV.com.
You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And big shout out to Kelly Cruz. We love these sponsors she brings us. So.
Absolutely awesome. We
got our buddy Max behind the glass. And Max, feel free to weigh in throughout the show. We are going to bring you, Allan. Okay, apparently one of the science stories you brought us today is it looks like Elon Musk is, we're all here talking about solar and battery. Maybe the answer is a nuclear reactor in your backyard.
You never know. We'll have to talk about that.
This is happening, folks. Get ready. So we have we have a special guest coming in. Allan, you've got a friend, Dmetrieve Mahan. Did I pronounce her name right? She's a re-nesting expert.
Well, she is a victim of re-nesting.
No.
So she has become a re-nesting expert.
So
I'm trying to give you a look into your future.
She's an accidental re-nesting expert. But honestly, re-nesting, was that even a term before? And now I think people know what it is.
Everybody out there just went, oh, I know exactly what's happened.
You were an empty nester, and suddenly the
now
nest
you're
is
not.
full again.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the dynamics with that. Allan, if we have time, I'd like to do a point-counterpoint. It's a mushroom follow-up.
Oh,
we had that mushroom discussion a few weeks ago, and you were talking about the benefits of mushrooms, and I'm not going to argue with you, but I may challenge
you
your
have some
assertion
questions, don't you?
Because we have a mushroom situation right in my front yard, and we'll weigh in on that. So maybe we'll call this a point counterpoint. So
okay.
And we've got lots of other things to get into because it's also the Halloween season. So
still so much more to talk about.
Halloween repairs. That might be a good thing to discuss. So it's all coming at you today on Tool Talk Radio. But before we get to any of that...
And now, Tool Talk Radio's Weekly Salute.
Sometimes you just have to get a grip. When dealing with a shopping cart with a defective wheel, you have to get a grip on the handlebars to keep you from swerving into the shoppers around you. I guess they're called handlebars. I didn't research it that far. In 2017, Star Wars fans like myself had to get a grip on their emotions as they watched Rian Johnson ruin the character of Luke Skywalker in the cinematic abomination that was Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. I don't have
Still
strong
a little
opinions
touchy
about
that, are we? Gosh.
And, of course, on that noteworthy occasion, when Allan Gilbert's favorite unlicensed back alley farmer's market, known to its patrons as the Shady Garden, had announced that they were hosting a 50% off sale on their experimental breed of rodent-eating rhododendrons. Allan managed to grab the very last plant of the batch, but then had to get a grip on the plant as he fought his way through a blockade of kale smoothie drinking soccer moms, elderly women, and tree-hugging hipsters, finally reaching the checkout tent triumphantly. I don't even want to know what you did with that plant, Allan.
Well, let's just say it's going to be part of our conversation about your yard.
Allan hangs out in weird places. And naturally, when you're loosening or tightening nuts or bolts, it's important that your wrench or pliers are also able to get a grip on the metal. Boy, what a left turn that was.
That's nice. That was a reach.
Sometimes, however, nuts and bolts don't cooperate, necessitating the use of the tool we honor today. My friends, we give you vice grips.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Allan, when these babies came out onto the scene, I think it said like the most useful tool in the world. It was, I mean, I can
go with that.
It's kind of one of these things where it's not a tool of last resort, but sometimes it kind of is. So, I mean, my vice grips are always at the ready. How about you?
What do you mean a pair of vice grips?
Yeah.
I got a box of them.
It's good to have a multi-size. So,
oh my gosh. I can't even picture trying to do what I do without them.
No.
I honestly, I have a little toolkit that is like my instant everything go-to kit. And then I have the box when I'm getting serious.
Okay.
And then guess what's right on time? The first thing I'm reaching is like, all right, I've had enough of you. Let's get the vice grips. Here we go.
Right. Well, let's give credit where credit's due. So there was he was a Danish immigrant. He's a blacksmith named William Peterson, and he's got an interesting bio. He sounds like one of those guys you'd want to go hang out with. He's the guy that you call whenever there's a problem. It said he tried his hand at farming, but he was an incurable inventor. He had to fidget. Incurable inventor sounds great. So in the early 20s, he arrived in Nebraska and opened a blacksmith shop. And I guess that was more to his liking because he could, blacksmiths have to be super inventive on how they do things. So he was finding that the pliers he was using and the vices weren't convenient, and he's like, wait a minute. It's kind of like when you combine chocolate and peanut butter. It's like if I took some pliers and gave it the same qualities as a vice.
Locking handle. Yeah.
So he built several prototypes. The first one they said he made was out of cardboard. Imagine that. Then he made a wooden one, and then he finally, once the wooden one looked like it was going to work, he made one out of metal, and it worked. And the thing I like about this guy too, William Peterson. At first, he sold these things out of his truck. He was one of these guys. Sure. He was just out there hustling. Eventually, it turned into the Peterson Manufacturing Company in 1934. And in the town of DeWitt, that's where he's from. It's still there today, I guess. DeWitt, Nebraska. I feel like I've heard of that. That's a tool. Yep. That's a tool.
It's like a tool mecca, man.
So good for him, William Peterson. And let's face it, I mean, you need your vice grip.
Could you imagine me and the guy he was showing that to for the first time?
Yeah.
Your jaw would just like the floor. Oh, what a great idea.
Oh, man. Yeah. And it's if you have stripped nuts or bolts or something, forget the wrench, just grab the vice grip.
Get them babies.
Hats off, William Peterson. We salute you. Well, Allan, we got to get to this. I can't wait. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about having a nuclear reactor in your backyard. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar, Memphis. We'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
For $1, what tool is used to hammer a nail? Is it A, a hammer, B, a nail, C...
B, nail. Final answer.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Yeah, Allan, that guy made it on the job site for one day, and he was gone. Sorry, buddy. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, we invite you to go over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page, give us a like, send us some pictures, check out our must-have item of the week. It's already been posted, Allan, so those people that just cannot live without knowing what that item is, go there now and you can make it go viral. Spread it all over the internet. You can be the spoiler of Tool Talk by putting the must-have item of the week everywhere. So, Allan, in a minute we want to get to your science story because it sounds highly provocative and possibly disturbing. However, you know what is not highly provocative or disturbing?
I don't know, Joe.
When you have I don't know if Larry's going to appreciate that segue, but anyway, if you've got a problem with your HVAC system, or if the air quality in your home is not clean enough, or if you want a smart home system where there's an app for every setting in your home, call the good people at Brown Refrigeration, especially this time of year. Let's face it, people may have, for one thing, leaves, pollen, debris may be filling up in coils outside your home. It's time for that. It's time for that maintenance check, if nothing else. You want to make sure your HVAC system is working properly. If something happens where you need a new system, the great thing about Brown Refrigeration too is they've got outstanding financing options. So
yes,
for those
indeed.
unexpected or expected, it's nice to plan and not have to spend an arm and a leg.
Well, and just to throw in one little touch is that R22 is now gone.
That's true, folks. The new refrigerant is
the new
gone.
refrigerants are in. So if you've bought a home recently that's got that 30-year-old air conditioner, it's time to start making plans.
And the other part of this too, Allan, is this supply chain shortage and everything. You need so Brown Refrigeration, they've been around forever. They know their stuff, and you want somebody like that can help you navigate that, because parts may not be right. They may not be in the warehouse. They may have to.
They're not these days,
and so they'll be able to help you with all of that. And they're just good people. Larry's a riot, and of course Mrs. Brown. One day we're going to get Mrs. Brown on the air.
Oh yeah.
You know what it's going to be like though, Allan? It's going to be like back in the '80s when Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley and Kiss, they took off their makeup. And suddenly everybody saw, it's probably better to keep Mrs. Brown a mystery. Keep the enigma going. So
you just don't want to get whooped that bad on air.
I do want her on the show sometime. But anyway, digression. But anyway, get in touch with the good people at Brown Refrigeration at 901-362-1881. Or you can check out their very easy to remember website at brownref.com. All right, Allan, this, speaking of provocative, well, I guess I was speaking of it because I said it, but, okay, Allan likes to get me, I don't know, shocked, horrified or whatever, but you said something in our text messaging when we were preparing for the show last night about forget diesel generators, forget solar power, we may be having nuclear reactors in our backyard. I did not like the sound of that.
Well, here we go.
Convince me I'm wrong, but go ahead, Allan.
I don't know if I can do that or not, but I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
All right.
Whether you want to be wrong or not. Where to start? Well, let's start with generators. I work with a lot of commercial buildings, and everybody has a big commercial generator.
Now, you said diesel. It doesn't really matter. You're talking about gas.
Most of them run on diesel.
I didn't know that. I always just thought they were gas.
No, most of the big ones run on diesel. And what is the one major complaint with diesel?
Well, they smell.
Yeah, that thing fires up, and it's called a smokestack for a reason.
Can I just ask? I do have one comment, and I just want to make sure I'm correct, because I thought when they were building like the Alaska pipeline or something, I thought one of the advantages of diesel is that their engines thrive on running hot. Like, isn't that correct? And so they would just leave those things running 24 hours a day, because if they turned them off, they may not start them again. So is that correct, though, that a diesel engine can handle heat better than a gas-powered engine?
A diesel engine can also handle various qualities of fuel better. And the reason
you just throw everything in. You throw salad oil in.
It's pretty much they may not like it,
but they'll run.
But if they can combust it, they'll run on it.
Okay, all right.
So I mean, that's
they're hardier than a gas.
Yeah, and you can actually make a biodiesel fuel out of almost any form of organic oil.
Okay, got it.
So Taco Bell leftover oil can become biodiesel.
Oh, and it has, believe me.
With that in mind.
So much for his Taco Bell being sponsored. No, go ahead.
All right. Kidding. Well, there's a California company out there called Radiant, and they have just secured funding, and their idea is that we need to replace diesel generators.
Okay.
Because, they're big, they smell bad, they put out a lot of smoke and all that kind of stuff. And what they want to do, here we go, you ready? They want to develop a compact, portable, low-cost, 1 megawatt nuclear micro reactor.
Yeah, This sounds like the beginning of a lot of monster movies, Allan, or sci-fi or something. So I don't know what how much power is a megawatt?
A megawatt will handle about 1,000 houses.
Okay, that sounds like a lot, Allan.
I mean, that's a pretty good amount. All right, well, let's just picture we just had a Hurricane Ida,
right?
And a lot of people went without power.
Yeah.
If this thing actually fits in like the container to a 18-wheeler.
Oh, it's that big.
It's that small.
Well, I mean,
instead of being a nuclear reactor that takes up miles and miles of territory like 3 Mile Island, this thing would be like on the back of an 18-wheeler.
Oh, I was picturing something the size of like a garbage can. I guess I was thinking Back to the Future or something.
You're getting there, but
Okay.
we got to get it down to a container size first, and then we'll get down to personal.
Okay, so this is your neighborhood one.
Right. This
basically.
one would be for your neighborhood. So we could just roll up into the neighborhood. The local power company could swap your particular subdivision from the grid over to this, and ba-boom.
Okay.
You're back into power.
Okay, can I ask you something? Because Allan, boy, you're triggering me on a lot of things, and maybe this is just a PR problem, but the first thing you think of when you think of nuclear is like the atomic bomb or something bad. Bad things that have happened with nuclear. But is it true that nuclear has gotten a bad rap? Because doesn't the space program depend on nuclear power? Doesn't
Well, all right. It's going to be bipolar.
Okay.
A lot depends on what you do with the waste materials.
Okay, that's the problem.
That is your real issue. What do we do after we're done? Now a lot of that is being looked at because the people behind this are a lot of engineers that were with SpaceX.
Okay.
So how we get power on Mars? How do we get power on the moon? Well, obviously a diesel generator is not going to run where there's not enough oxygen.
Right.
However, a nuclear reaction, and keep in mind, folks, the sun is a nuclear reaction. Sunlight is radiation.
Okay.
So, when we say these words, a lot of times they've been over dramatized.
Yeah, I guess it's in the movies and everything. Yeah,
right.
Because but when you're talking about disposal of what are you disposing of? Because I remember watching that movie The Martian where he had to dig up to keep warm. He dug up like a nuclear, I forget what it was, and he put it inside the little vehicle, and it kept it warm or something. But
right. And the other problem is, how do you cool it? Because we all know that every movie has told us that any type of nuclear reactor has all this water going through it, and when it fails, it creates radioactive monsters that come marching out of Chernobyl. And okay, well, this one's going to be helium cooled.
Okay,
so it has a different cooling system, and again, it's a much smaller and much more contained unit. So we're not trying to generate 10,000 megawatts. We're not trying to run a city.
Okay, but Allan,
we're trying to run this one tiny little area.
Sorry, I hate to keep interrupting, but when I get excited, I interrupt. Okay, I thought we have a helium shortage, or at least we have limited amounts of helium, right? You don't just go make helium in your backyard.
That's correct.
So do you want to run into a situation where you're depending on a power source that needs helium, and then you run out of helium? And then what happens to your infrastructure?
Helium is available in a variety of places. It's just how are you going to extract it?
Okay. All right.
So helium can be acquired.
Okay.
Now, the other thing is, how do you set up the fuel, and how do you set up the running temperature?
Yeah.
Because of advances in nuclear science, we now have fuels that don't melt down.
Okay.
And they can withstand higher temperatures than traditional 1970s nuclear fuels. So this is a much more stable idea. And again, the whole idea is, instead of thinking really big, let's think really small. How about to the point, it's in Radium's idea, that how about to the point of where we get to where 18-wheeler trucks that run on diesel would now run on a nice, small, tiny, compact little nuclear generator.
How does this tie in with batteries? Or is there any time? Because it sounds like these guys will be at odds with the battery people.
No, not really, because this is where you really start getting some synergy between having like a house battery, which we've talked about many times. Well, a house battery would be able to back up your home for 10 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, like that.
Right.
Well, if we were able to get you power within 24 hours, you would never have had an interruption at your home.
I don't know. See, the thing with you, Allan, is my red flags go up, and I pretty much wear them on my sleeve. What do you think about this? I mean,
I think there's going to be a lot of research on it. I think a lot has already been done. But do I think it's going to happen? I think absolutely this is going to happen.
Okay, boy. Pretty heavy stuff. So, well, I don't know if it's heavy. Maybe I'm making it more dramatic than it has to be. That's what we do here. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar, Memphis. We're going to take a quick break. I want to continue a little bit more of this discussion about having a nuclear reactor in your backyard, and then we're going to get to our must-have item of the week.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
I wonder if they're fraternal or identical tools.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. You can see the must-have item of the week. And we'd like for you to, tell us about what you've got going on in the home. Hey, send us pictures of your decorations for Halloween, because coming up, Allan, Halloween repairs. This is going to be, and it's beyond just fixing for Halloween. This is going to be a new call to action from Tool Talk Radio. So, before we're gonna dive back into your nuclear story that you had about putting nuclear reactors in our backyard. Before we do that, Allan, I just want to remind somebody, if you have any roofing issues, I don't think nuclear ties in with this at this point, right?
No, not that I can think of, but.
Well, sometimes one of the important things to know with your roof, let's face it, replacing your roof is a big project. So for one thing, you want a master elite installer, which means that they're going to stand behind their work. It's a roofing system, folks. It's no longer just, hey, go throw some shingles up there. It's an entire system. I can tell you this, Allan, on my own home, this system has made my utility bills less, and I've noticed it every month. They're considerably less. It makes your roof run cooler, and the shingles last longer, and they have lifetime transferable warranties. So what you want to do is get in touch with the good people at Big M Roofing and Remodeling, because the other part of this is some of your replacement or repairs may be covered by your homeowner's insurance. And our buddy Jay Hill he's a very unique character.
That's one way of putting it.
But he's a great guy. But he also is a former insurance agent, and he's now a Master Elite roofing installer. So how many people have that resume?
That's some credentials.
It comes in handy, because when it's time to talk to your insurance company, he knows the protocols. He can look at a roof, and he has a much better idea whether you're going to have a replacement situation, and he knows his stuff. And he's just a fun guy anyway. So he knows everybody probably too. Everybody in Memphis seems to know Jay Hill. So give him a call at 901-484-5645, or go to bigmroofingandremodeling.com. But Allan, okay, this before the break we were talking about, I'm sorry, Allan, when I get excited I interrupt a lot because I don't want to forget, but basically you're saying there's a company that is a spin-off, or at least these guys, the developers, are a spin-off from SpaceX, which is Elon Musk stuff. So they're talking about possibly having instead of what we have now with do we get our electricity through coal and water and things like that? But basically replacing that with a nuclear reactor.
Well, it's kind of all of the above.
Okay.
We have kind of this nice mixed match of stuff, and we keep talking about the grid.
Yeah.
And what the grid really is basically think like your subdivision. There's a street that leads into your subdivision. Well, there's a line of power. You see the power towers that leads into your subdivision. If anything happens along that way, you can't, if anything happens to the road, you can't get into your subdivision. Or B, if anything happens to the power along that line, now your subdivision goes dark.
It's definitely a design flaw, because it's like those Christmas lights. You pull one bulb out and the rest go out.
Boom. Yeah. However, with this kind of technology, now suddenly that design flaw becomes a little bit of a design advantage. Because your subdivision may be isolated, then there may be 500 homes in your subdivision. Well, now they could back the truck up right there, fire up the reactor, plug in, literally. I mean, it slightly more complicated than that, but not drastically.
Yeah.
Plug in your subdivision and bam, you've got power back.
Okay, so for now, they're talking about this being a backup system. They're not talking about this being the primary.
Think about any type of disaster. Think about powering a giant outdoor concert. Think about powering anything that might be remote.
So the fire festival could have happened if they brought one of these babies to
you could have had enough
Bahamas.
power to handle it, Think about anything. Now, this is just round one.
Yeah.
Because the thoughts are already to the point of what do we need for, and they're picking on diesel specifically because diesel is about torque.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Gasoline is more about speed and the way the fuels operate. Diesel is why your big engines are all
That's
diesel
why those trucks
engines.
going down the road
Right.
are diesel.
They're there about the torque and the power. They're not worried about the speed.
Okay.
A diesel engine is never going to break the land speed record.
Yeah.
However, a gasoline engine, which burns hotter and faster and quicker, and the motor and the design to that, and we could probably get our buddies at Motormouth to weigh in on that.
I was about to say they need to jump in.
They would have a blast with this. All right, but we're talking about the slow turn, the torque.
Okay.
So in this particular instance, you would have a power source being able to provide you that nice, consistent level of power. So as small as we could get them, think about like your 18-wheeler's motor. It's the size of many compact cars.
Right.
It's pretty substantial. If this were replaced with a unit like this, now you would have a truck that could run its entire life on one power cell.
But so what is the byproduct of nuclear? Like you were talking about the disposal. Like what's left over? Okay, this truck pulls up and it's running a nuclear reactor for however long. Well, what's left over that they got to get rid of?
Well, they're actually starting with leftovers.
All right. Well, leftover what? That's what
nuclear rods. They're actually starting
made
with
of the plutonium, like in Back to the Future.
Yeah. We're starting with radioactive materials and a lot of leftover radioactive materials, which we have plenty of, still have plenty of power in them.
Isn't the PR going to be very difficult to
Yes.
overcome? Because
Yeah.
I don't like
yeah.
the sound of that in my neighborhood. All I'm thinking of is Chernobyl and stuff like that. So,
Well, but
how do you
again-
sell people on this? 'Cause
Well,
it's
again,
tough,
all right. Well, like you and I have talked about paint.
right?
The paint that we used in the 80s, is that the same paint we're still using today?
Well,
Not really.
no, but it's not like the lead paint back
All
in
right,
the
well,
day.
we go back to 1970, we were using a drastically chemically different substance. We get to the 80s, we're using a drastically different chemical substance. We get to 2020, and we're using a very refined system to the point where latex is kind of killing off oil-based paints. It's become that much more durable. So it's the natural evolution of the technologies.
Yeah.
So like you were talking about tying into the batteries, we're actually talking about a home battery source now capable of keeping everything up and going.
Okay, Max wants to jump in.
This doesn't necessarily have to do with the technology, but more of like the PR, kind of like Joe's concern. Well, what if we told you, Joe, that Nikola Tesla used nuclear stuff? Like, how Edison continued to try to discredit and like show his doubts about the effectiveness of AC, like, oh, it's too dangerous.
I didn't know Nikola Tesla did. Wait, are you
Like, what if he did? Like, would that make you feel any better? Because, like, you're having a lot of hesitation and doubts about the danger of using nuclear power.
Well, I like Nikola Tesla, but the problem, Max, is we have atomic bombs. We've had Chernobyl accidents like that, which it's really hard to overcome that kind of spin, no matter who invented it. So,
Well, that's true. And I would love to say however, but I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to look at you and say that is true. But that is 1950s, 60s, 70s, and 80s technology. That was 40 years ago.
Well, I guess, okay, Max, by that same logic, because if you ever want to study something fascinating but pretty disturbing, look at some of the stuff Thomas Edison did to sell his what was it? He was selling AC, or I can't
All
remember
right,
what he
Thomas
was selling.
Edison sold DC, and he thought AC was too dangerous, and he would actually put on public demonstrations to demonstrate the different levels of voltage.
Yeah, the worst thing he did was he electrocuted an elephant,
Yes,
which is
yes,
horrifying
he-
and all that. And so, so there's all that PR spin,
Right.
that people, and propaganda, I would call it. 'Cause
Yes.
that's really shocking and unnecessary.
Well, so again, we have a lot going on behind the scenes, and this company, Radiant, is not the only company working on this idea. There are a number of companies out there competing. These guys happen to be kind of, high profile because they're SpaceX guys.
I think I could get more excited about this, Alan, if they were using this technology to make like a light speed engine so we could travel to Mars in like 2 weeks
Didn't say they weren't.
Okay, yeah, because that type of thing would be I could get, I don't know, put it in my
I don't
backyard.
need a
I'm
light
not
speed
super-
engine at home, Joe, but I might need a really kicking generator at the house that I don't have to keep putting fuel in.
I think this is a head fake, though. But Elon Musk, we love the guy, but he's got schemes and plans. So this whole
That
thing
guy,
is
all right, some people in
interconnected
this
with him.
world are so far ahead of our thinking, we'll never catch up.
Right. But I think this is a PR thing with Elon Musk. He's trying to, okay, well, fine, we won't do this, but when you get to Mars, we'll be all set. Here's our nuclear powered
exactly,
whatever. So,
but why save it for Mars? We could use it here.
Okay, we'll see. We'd love to know what you think, folks. Weigh in at the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page or call us, the Big M Roofing and Remodeling
Send us a
Hotline.
text.
Send us a text, 901-683-0989. But, Alan, I don't want the whole show to be about your shocking science and everything. So when we get back, I think we will have to hit our must-have item of the week, because in the second hour, too, we've got your buddy Dmetrieve Mahan, a re-nesting expert.
Yes.
It's funny how you can become an expert in something you didn't necessarily seek to become an expert.
Didn't see it coming, right?
Anyway, you're listening to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allen.
I made my first chair when I was 5, but the quality of the wood was wanting.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
I've been there, done that, Alan. Can't say I was 5 years old, but I do like a good piece of wood, so you don't want it to be wanting. Anyway, who says that? Talks that way anymore. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Alan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. And if you need spoilers, if you can't wait 30 seconds till I get to our must-have item of the week, then check it out over there. So, Alan, before I get to the must-have item of the week, I want to we've been talking pretty high-tech stuff. Let's keep that conversation going. So,
Okay.
If you want to remodel your kitchen or your bathroom, wouldn't it be cool, for one thing? Okay, wouldn't it? What's the most important thing? Craftsmanship.
Oh, yes.
You want the thing. You want it done well. The second thing you want is you don't want to pay an arm and a leg. So
True.
the focus should be on craftsmanship and keeping the overhead low, which is exactly what they do at Tri-State Interiors. Mike Serafolian, he and I have the same kind of business model. To be honest, that's the way I operate as well. I can't say I'm as high tech as Mike, though. When it comes to the design process, what's great about Tri-State Interiors is they will make a 3D rendering of your kitchen or your bath, and I think that's where you work out the design elements. You can you look at it, you go, okay, I want the cabinets to look this way. I want that wall taken out, or I want a new wall added, or I want the countertops to look a certain way, and then you take a virtual tour of your kitchen.
Well, this is the best point to go, well, what would quartz look like?
Sure.
What would marble look like? What would concrete look like? Believe it or not, concrete counters are a thing.
Oh, I know. I'm with you. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing. And then if you want to change it, you do
Do
it
it
all
on the
virtually.
computer. Don't do it in reality.
And then you download it and you send it to your mother-in-law and you send it to everybody else who's going to give you an opinion about it. But no, it's fun. And then the other thing so that's very cool. It's something we didn't have when we were younger. Nobody was doing this kind of thing. But the other great thing about Mike is they don't remove one item from your kitchen. They don't start any demolition work until all of the items that they need to that they're going to be installing are safely in their warehouse.
Yes.
They've already ordered them.
Oh my gosh,
they're
yes.
sitting there, so you don't run into that situation, especially today with the supply chain shortage. You don't want to be waiting 6 weeks while your floor is taken out in the kitchen for that tile to show up. So they do it all. They do a great job at Tri-State Interiors, and they have a big service area. So like we said, if you can hear us, if you're listening to us out towards, if you're close to Jackson, Tennessee, you're probably in their service area.
All the way down to
If
Oxford.
you're in Arkansas or Mississippi, they serve it all. So call Tri-State Interiors at 901-409-1333 or go to tristateinteriorsllc.com. All right, Allan, I guess we better get to our must-have item of the week because honestly, I could spend the whole day talking about nuclear reactors and Elon Musk's schemes to take over the world.
And how Batman figures into it. I know.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Exactly. But tell people what I'm holding up here.
He is holding up the infamous, what we like to call tin snips.
Yeah, are they still called that? Actually, I mean, I
I'm
never cut
old.
tin.
I still call them tin snips, but it is your metal fabricating shears.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds a lot fancier, even though I'm not going to say, hey, Allan, hand me my metal fabricating shears or anything.
Yeah, throw me the tin snips.
Right. You call them tin snips. And now here's the thing about tin snips. They are sort of multi-purpose. I'm not going to lie and pretend I haven't snipped wires with them, Allan.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not gonna pretend that I haven't cut things that are not necessarily made of metal with them. But folks, when you get a pair of tin snips, I say you get a pair because there's a left-handed and a right-handed. So tell people why that is, Allan. There's not just one size fits all.
Well, and that is because you are going to be in strange positions doing jobs.
Right.
Sometimes, and I really, when I first discovered they came in right-handed and left-handed, I have to admit, my mind went, what a dumb idea. until I was on a project and the only way to reach up in there was left-handed over the air conditioning duct to get back up in there. And at that moment, I discovered the genius of having both a pair. Yes.
Well, and folks, that doesn't mean that if you're right-handed, you get a right-handed pair. It means because when you're cutting, like if you're cutting some sheet metal, well, you might be cutting where the left side of the sheet metal is going up because as you go, it's not like
going
paper
to curl
where it's going to just fold over. It's going to start going up. So that may not work with what you're trying to do. So then you either grab the right-handed or the left-handed, shears. So, but boy, these things are handy. This pair here, people are going to see the picture on the Facebook page and go, boy, there's a lot. It looks like it's been through the mill, but I mean, I've had it for 20 years and it still holds up.
And it's magnificent. And this is where I'm going to throw in, a grandpa adage of take care of your tools and your tools will take care of you.
Okay.
Of all of us old mossbacks of the business all have tools that are 20 and 30 years old. We all do.
Sure.
And my favorite tools are reclaimed tools that I've picked up on job sites that are possibly 100 years or older.
Well, what's great about that, Allan, is and I don't know exactly what magical age a tool hits where it suddenly becomes, it's no longer old, it's sentimental, or it's classic. Like it goes from being just an old beater to a classic where then, there's that point where you're like, I'll never get rid of this. Like I've got tools where I'm never getting rid of them until,
ever.
My old blue, my drill, you'd have to pry that out of my cold, dead hands.
We're going to send it with you, Joe.
It's been beat up, but it's still kicking. I've had it for 20 years.
But you got a great pair of tin snips here. You can tell they've been used. You can tell they've been through the ringer, and they really haven't changed in style or design in my lifetime.
No, they're pretty hardy too. They you can drop it off a ladder and it'll probably be fine. So
but what I have found, especially working in attics around HVAC ducts and a lot of the sheet metal, oh my gosh, a really good, well-cared set of tin snips is just Again, the right tool for the right job makes things so much easier and quicker.
Absolutely. So, all right. So that's our must-have item of the week. Check it out at our Facebook page. So, Allan, let's shift gears. This is, I don't know if this is even a point counterpoint, but it's an observation, and maybe you can connect this. And folks, if you were listening, I don't know, like a month ago or whenever you brought this up, you were talking about mycelium. You were talking about mushrooms in the yard. How you don't necessarily, when you see a mushroom, need to yank it right out. For one thing, it's like an iceberg. 90% of that mushroom is under the ground.
Correct.
It's a big network.
All you are seeing is the fruiting body of the fungus.
And you said that that's actually providing nutrients or something. It's doing a critical function, so just kind of let it be.
If it's possible. You know, I mean, if you've got kids and the dog and all that kind of stuff, yeah, go ahead and mow them under or whatever. But
well, this year
mushrooms are not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay, because that was my question, Allan, because this year, for some reason, in our front yard, we've had two situations. We've had moles. They finally, we got rid of them, I think, but they tore up some of our front yard, and now in those exact areas where the moles were, we had a outbreak of mushrooms, and I left them alone because of what you said. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, there's got to be a connection between the moles and the mushrooms, or maybe it's just a coincidence, but
there is a connection.
All right, well, let's talk about
that, man.
So, because that was my debate, like maybe Allan was wrong, but
well, sir, you thought you were wrong, but you were incorrect.
Oh.
So,
all right, I'm putting that on a T-shirt. But go ahead. All right, talk.
All right, here we go. Of how were our homes built? A lot of them got bulldozed. Now, your house is unique, I know the history of your house.
Oh, yeah, we know that.
And you have had an amazing variety of strange things buried in your yard.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it at that. However,
Zambodian architecture.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
You've had cars, toilets, and everything. Yeah. So your neighbors were so happy to see you. All right, but here's the gig. So under the soil, you have an entirely different environment. So when they bulldozed your area, sticks and twigs and tree debris, and as we love to say back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, contractors love to bury their dead. So
is that so? Basically, they tear something out and they just bury
it wound up in the yard somewhere, which is why the weird stuff pops up periodically.
I got you.
However, it does decay. And this is where the fungus and all that kind of stuff gets involved. And it breaks down organic material. But as it breaks down organic material, it makes it tasty. So your earthworms and your grubs and your critters gravitate towards it.
That was my question, because the moles eat the grubs. So
exactly.
So this stuff is attracting. So isn't that a bad thing? Isn't it gonna wind up attracting more things that the moles are going to want to eat?
Well, this is why the mold is breaking it down. All right, this is going to be a process with or without you. Now, if you want to treat your yard for grubs and that kind of things, that's fine. That'll help keep the other bigger critters, the raccoons and squirrels and moles and stuff, from digging up your yard. However, the process of breaking down the organic materials helps improve your yard and provides nutrients for your grass.
Wow. It sounds like a real balancing act. So, and you don't want to just fill your yard with poisons and stuff. And
right.
I don't want to just kill these little critters.
Right.
I mean, but okay. But I'm still kind of confused. So do we want mushrooms or not in our yard?
Well, it's a process, and I think if you kind of embrace it, you'll see that next year of your yard will be a little greener and a little healthier because more of that organic material has been broken down.
Because some people, not me, but some people have a front yard that looks like a golf course. It looks beautiful and well manicured. I can't imagine them embracing the idea of just letting that mushroom, spread and everything.
Well, but even those truly pristine looking yards got a little something going on under the soil.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So they need so the bottom line is mushrooms. They're going to do their thing regardless, because all you're seeing, like you said, is that top little fruiting whatever. So don't try to go under the soil and kill it, basically, too, right?
Well, you've got to have a balance of bacterial activity, fungus activity to keep your soil healthy and to keep it growing the plants you want it to grow.
Okay. Sounds a lot like the digestive system in our stomach, Alan. It's like, but
well, you're not horribly far wrong.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, you have a balance of flora and fauna that keeps you healthy.
all right.
And when you get them out of balance, you pay the price.
All right. Well, boy, you're going to pay the price if you're out of balance listening to this show. Listening out of context. How's
There
that?
you go.
Boy, you got to really listen to every word. Here on Tool Talk Radio from News Talk 98.9, the Roar of Memphis, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about the dynamics of re-nesting.
News Talk 98.9, the Roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome to Hour 2 of Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, you can go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. Send us pictures. Send us, video of you working on your house. Send us some of your triumphs and your failures. Let's be honest. Some of those are fun. But, Allan, what if somebody just woke up and they missed part of the first hour of Tool Talk Radio? Boy, they're out of luck, right?
Not at all, Joe. Here we go.
Boy, was that a softball.
Pucka. Let me see if I can bunt that one back at you.
Yeah.
Tell you what, all they need to do to listen to us anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, is pop over to tooltalkradio.com. They can catch up on any of our episodes there, and we're even available now on Spotify.
Yeah.
So they can tote us with them.
Folks, if you haven't used Spotify, and Spotify, you can send that check to Tool Talk
yeah.
Radio. But no, it really is one of my favorite platforms. It's very easy to listen to. I like that you queue it up, and you basically hit the notification thing. And of course, if you're listening to Tool Talk Radio on Spotify, be sure to give us a 5-star review. That always helps. It's always good to get that, and you'll get notifications when the new episode drops. But it's a nice way to. I will say, Allan, you can binge listen to Tool Talk Radio. One of the things about our show is it's sort of timeless. You can listen to an episode from a year ago or 5 years ago, and it's still pretty relevant. You still.
Repairs are repairs.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Allan, your buddy Dmetrieve is running a little late. Hopefully she'll be here. Yep. Dmetrieve, get your Kadiddlehofer over here. Yep. So she's a re-nesting expert. So when she gets here, we're going to be talking about that. And if she doesn't, we're going to talk about
anything else.
But I do want to mention something we brought up at the beginning of the show. And you and I were talking about this in our exhaustive show prep last night. And Halloween repairs. Like it's a good idea to sort of schedule some things. And so we're not talking, well, among other things, you are talking about if you have to if you put a big hole in your your roof, or if you did something to attach that giant 50-pound skeleton or whatever, for obviously fix those. But it's also a good time because Halloween is at a transitional time of the year. It's starting to get cold. A lot more rain.
Exactly.
If water gets into the house, it's not going to evaporate as quick as it would in the middle of the summer. So it's a good time to think about those repairs getting ready for the winter.
Well, to give you the where I got the idea from was helping set up a scare at one of the local haunted attractions.
Of course.
And the soil was so hard we couldn't get a post into the ground. So I had
been baking all summer.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was kind of like trying to put, it was like trying to tap it into concrete. So I had to go back to the truck and break out the drill and honestly drill a hole into the ground.
Solution? Okay.
Yeah, I went and put a big old drill bit on it and drilled a hole in it, and we dropped the post down in it, and now the skeleton stood up just fine. And so we're trying to get this ready, and I was sitting there looking at everything we were doing, and I went, it's so exciting. All right, nobody wants to go walk around the house and do repairs.
Well,
let's just face it.
Repairs aren't as exciting as like building something new.
Or putting up the skeletons or building the scare treat or doing the candy and all that. Well, guys, that's all going to be over next week. Mm-hmm. So then the as I love to put it, the illustrious side of the business begins. You got to take all that stuff down.
Unless you're like a few neighbors of mine that just think just leave it up all year, or just put a Santa hat on the skeleton, and now you're set for
you're good.
So, yeah.
You're good till January,
right?
But you're going to be taking a lot of this stuff down. While you're taking it down, you're already out there. Did you make a big hole in the yard?
Yeah.
All right. Well, at my age, I don't want to step in that hole and twist an ankle or hit the ground. Let's fill it back up with a little topsoil or a little sand. Did we attach things to the house? Of course, we want to look at touching that up. But you're there. Does the window need just a little bit of caulk? Do we need to, did we have our termite inspection already? Did we, it's a great time of year to kind of really quick think and go, oh, well, I'm out here doing this anyway.
Yeah. Well,
let's take the extra 5 minutes and make sure that, the air like you said, the air conditioning's clean. Because I want to point out, a lot of people get out there with that mulch this time of year.
Oh, and they just throw it everywhere.
Oh, that stuff everywhere. Let's make sure we didn't get it in the air conditioning unit. Let's make sure we didn't block any downspouts.
Yeah.
Let's, 5-10 minutes worth of, a couple of quick double checks, and we've, a stitch in time has saved 9.
Yeah, and think of your house. We always remind you that your house is moving constantly. It's expanding and contracting. In October, especially, you're running the heat and the air conditioner in the same day. So just think of your house. This is the way to remind yourself. Think of your house like the Blob for Halloween. Think of scary stuff like that. It's undulating. It's doing its
does.
thing.
It moves. It breathes.
Anywhere you see, especially like you said, Alan, around windows or doors, if you see some gaps forming, at least make the effort and caulk it up. That'll, seal it up. Keep the water out. Just keep the water at bay. You don't want termites. You don't want water getting in there, spreading and not drying. Basically, that's
good time to look at those thresholds, because you don't want the little crawly critters to. It's getting cold outside. They want to move in with you.
Yeah. So Halloween is a really good time. Post Halloween is a really good time to take care of those necessary repairs before you have to hunker in for the winter. So that's a good idea, Alan. And it's just a reminder too. Everybody knows Halloween, so you'll remember it easily. So, all right, you're listening to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from News Talk 98.9, the Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I guess we are going to talk about re-nesting.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Just a few more seconds of mental preparation and I'll be painting this wall.
News Talk 98.9, the Roar of Memphis.
That's what you do, Alan, right? You get in the mood, get mentally prepared.
You got to get the zen of the wall. That's right.
And Zen of the Wall. That's a new name for my band. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Doris Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Alan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. Or you can send us messages at the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. We'll answer in real time. I have my phone right here. I'll get alerts. Send us video, send us pictures, send us your questions and, your comments, and we'll answer in real time. And also, you'll be joining the Tool Talk Radio community. And one more thing, Alan, as long as we're discussing it, if you ever miss any episodes of Tool Talk Radio, never fear. You can go back to Spotify. Just go to Tool Talk Radio, pull us up, subscribe to the podcast. That way you get alerts every time the new episodes drop.
Please do, and don't forget to give us that 5-star rating.
Yeah, absolutely, and share it with your friends. And actually, Alan, you said people from around the world are listening right now. Right?
I love looking at the distribution list.
You're a stat guy.
Because to our new friends in India, Canada, and the UK, I want to say hello to all of y'all.
Yeah.
There's your new word, y'all.
Do we say top of the morning, or is that an Irish one? So
top of the morning that's an Irish one.
Okay.
And the rest of the day as well.
All right. Anyway, we'll be sending out greetings. Hey, if you're from outside the United States, send us a message and we'll give you a shout out on the air. How's that?
Please do.
Hey, Alan, I don't know if you're in India, I don't know if this is in their service area, but it's still a good idea to know this information. If you want to buy or sell a home, boy, was that a stupid transition. Let's start again. And
if you're moving to Memphis from no matter where.
Absolutely. If you're in Madagascar and you're moving to Memphis, call the good people at Whitekurt Realtors Benchmark. They make the process of buying and selling a home quick, easy, and fun. Well, for one thing, let's face it, Alan, everything happens quick in real estate today.
Oh, my gosh. So
but
fast.
Easy and fun is the key. They really know their stuff. Whitekurt Realtors Benchmark has been through every kind of market, and they are basically there to help you win your home, especially if you're buying a home is the real challenge these days, because you can sell your home fairly easily, but then you got to buy a place, and you have to win it these days.
You really do. It's very competitive out there.
It's very competitive. You've got to have and there's no time to drag your feet. You go in there and you got to be ready that day to make an offer. So you want to do all the groundwork. You want to lay all the groundwork first. If you're let's suppose your credit is lacking a little bit, go in there for a credit tune-up. They can help you. Man. They can help you. So if you say, in 6 months we're going to be moving,
yes,
get ready now, or if in a year, if you're a newlywed, like our friend Catherine Knowles is getting married today. Big shout out to Catherine Knowles. Anyway, call the good people at Whitekurt Realtors Benchmark. They know it all, and they really do make it fun over there. Their office is fun. They got a foosball table.
They kind of got a kicking office.
They got a basketball hoop. They got a great kitchen. Alan goes there sometimes to cook his lunch. But give them a call at 901-202-2000 and talk to Rick or Susie Bowman or Kelly Cruz or any of the great people, Brandy Merrick. Talk to them over there at Whitekurt Realtors Benchmark. Okay, Alan, you want to introduce the special guest that we've just thrown into the fire here?
Well, bless her heart. She and I were having a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and she began mentioning a number of lifestyle changes. And I just went,
Is that what you're calling this now?
I looked at this and I said, you need to come in because you need to tell Joe what he has about to happen. So this is a dear friend of mine named Dmetrieve, and she is a budding podcaster and an admissions director and all these wonderful things.
Yes,
so welcome, Dmetrieve.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thanks, Dmetrieve. So you are a re-nesting expert. Well, we're calling you an expert. You've been forced into the re-nesting game.
Oh, yes, I have.
Alan, give us the 30-second elevator thing.
Okay.
What the re-nesting dynamic, when we were growing up, this wasn't even a word.
No, but it is a whole thing, isn't it?
What is it?
Well, early in your life, you met your beloved, you got married, you got jobs, you got a house, you had children, you raised the little darlings, you finally got them out of the house, and you got the house back to yourself.
In theory, yeah. Okay.
Well, guess what? Well, with the pandemic and the world the way it is, now we have got a dramatic reshift. And I'm going to look at Dmetrieve, and guess what's happening now? They're moving back.
They're moving back in.
So tell us your situation, Dmetrieve.
Well, I have two children. A 26-year-old and 24-year-old son and daughter. Okay. And now my daughter's back home now. So, so it's with a grandbaby.
I was about to say she's not running solo here, so okay.
Not flying solo, so it's been great having my grandbaby and my daughter home. So it's been wonderful to have them both here.
Okay. Well, Allan,
but it's a challenge.
It is definitely a challenge. It is definitely a challenge. We went from having just so much freedom in the home to now having to baby-proof the house, and and we can't put everything in the refrigerator like we could before, or things come up missing out of the refrigerator.
Wait a minute.
And really? The cabinets and things like that. So it's definitely been a transition.
Wait a minute. Okay, I didn't think of that part of it out. That sounds like a college roommate situation that you're in.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I was going to eat that piece of cheesecake. It's
right.
gone.
You're looking for your cheesecake and your cookies, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, I ate all of that, Mom.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, so we thought this would be an interesting thing from the home improvement standpoint, because, like you said, I got my notes here, Alan. I'm looking at this. So you've got. Well, I of course I'm going to dive into the psychological dynamic here, but
I brought you a gift, Joe. I brought you a gift.
The safety obviously is something, because now you've got a grandchild, so you've got to probably move things.
Yes, move things around, put up cords, and move tables out of the way, because he is on the go now.
Sure. Wait, how old is he?
He's 9 months.
Oh, so is he walking yet?
He's crawling. He's pulling up on everything. He is everywhere.
Oh, jeez. Okay. All right.
Been a while since you've had that, isn't it, Joe?
I forgot about those things. So
Oh, yeah, you blocked that from your memory, didn't you?
Yeah, because we thought we were going to have time. We were thinking, okay, not until maybe he's, 1 or 2 years old, and then we can start baby-proofing. Oh, no. He's into cabinets and everything.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So they had those temporary like door thing. What are those called? Like a door. It's almost like a fence.
Yes. Oh, they're climbing
Baby
over
fencing.
those. They climb over them.
Okay, so that's not cutting it in
No.
your situation.
No.
Okay. Well, here's what I was kind of curious about and it's funny you mentioned the food part of it. So you're already, you've already got that tension going. So that you haven't laid the ground rules with, okay, this is my side of the fridge, that's your side.
No, I haven't. I'm somewhat of a softie, so I have not done that.
Well, see, that was my thing, because what I was thinking about, Allan, is the psychological nature is this. Do you want to because I'm assuming this is a temporary situation.
Yes.
The hope is.
Yes, the hope is that it's temporary. So you try not to make it too comfortable for him coming back.
That was kind of my thinking, is like, okay, you make the bedroom. I'm not gonna get a better mattress. Let's put is that sort of the idea? So there's a lot of passive aggressiveness going on.
That
here.
is the idea.
Well, it's like when your daughter comes back to visit and brings that other cat.
Yeah, see, the only thing
your cat doesn't like.
See, the only thing I could relate to this, because we don't have grandkids or anything yet, Dmetrieve, but my daughter is off in Knoxville, and she bought a cat. And we have a cat that my wife rescued, and when those two meet, it gets very territorial, and we have to separate them, and we cannot relax when those two cats are around each other.
Wow. Oh.
So I don't even know what it's like. How do you still feel like it's your home? And do you guys have to create your own space?
We do. We have to create our own space. And I tell you, whenever she leaves to go and hang out, that is when we get our time in there. We have some time to ourselves to kind of sit down and watch a movie or do what we need to do. And then an hour later, it's over.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just wondering. So this is obviously a pretty common thing right now, and I mean, personally, when I was that age, that's the last thing I would want to do is move. I'd probably want to be back, but then it is nice that you're able to help let them. I guess, is this a job situation or something?
Well, she just had the baby,
right.
So we wanted her to be able to have some time with the baby, and then with the whole pandemic thing, it's just not as easy putting the baby in daycare and things like that, because you think of the safety of the child and all of that. So we're just trying to let some of this pandemic vaccination thing kind of go over and see what the plan would be to get the baby into daycare and all of that. So right now, the safest thing is for them to be home.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, now the flip side of that is we just had a really rough hurricane season, and a lot of people got put out of their homes.
Yeah, you got friends that you were putting up.
And you got people that moved in with friends. You got people that moved back in with family all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, you might have just moved out and just got your life started. Now your mom and dad moved in with you.
Right.
So re-nesting is a big adjustment, because you were thinking one style.
Yeah.
And now suddenly, and I look at Dmetrieve, now you're putting the little plastic thingies back in the wall sockets, and you're putting the door clips back on that the door. And when you took those off, you forgot you got to press down on that to open the door, don't you?
Oh my God, totally forgot. I mean, it's such an adjustment.
Well, and the other thing too is like some places, and even here in Memphis, real estate is going up because it's in high demand. I've heard rental prices have gone up like 19% just in the last few months. So a lot of this is financial. Allan, didn't you say some of these? I don't want to say hippie communes, but some of these communal living situations are popping up again.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are getting together and kind of going, all right, there's 4 of us, and there's a 4-bedroom house we can rent.
Yes.
Oh boy.
So you're back to the artist conclave.
Yes.
People are having to rethink, how we're gonna move forward. Real estate has become a real issue.
Yeah.
and re-nesting and new lifestyles are a thing.
Okay, so that's kind of that's laying the ground. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about because I'm just sitting here looking at my list here, Alan. I feel like this involves storage, creative decorating ideas, let's say, safety ideas, and also the psychological and passive aggressive nature of this, because that's where we got to stir up some controversy.
Yeah, you got to stir up a little something here.
So that's going to be interesting. Re-nesting, boy, never thought we'd be talking about that on the show.
It's a big topic, man.
You're listening to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Oh, I'm afraid the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Yeah, you can't outsmart that, Emperor Allan. In your face.
Yeah, welcome to the dark side, baby.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Geeky Side TV, and our pal Dmetrieve Mahan from Mahan, I think.
Yes.
We're calling her our re-nesting expert. You can call us you can give us a call or text at at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989, or go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. Follow us there. If you miss any of the shows, Allan,
all they got to do is go to tooltalkradio.com. They can catch up with us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they can click on that Spotify button and follow us. Be happy to give us a 5-star review. And with Spotify, you can just take us with you.
Yeah, and I would just say, folks, Spotify is not sending me money for this, but if you got a smartphone, just download the app. It's a little easier, but you don't have to download the app. You can listen either way. So, well, Dmetrieve, we are talking about re-nesting. We're not going to say a victim of this, but you are an unintended participant. How's that?
That sounds great.
Okay, so your daughter came home with a 9-month-old. That we're assuming this is a temporary situation.
Yes.
And a lot of people are going through this whole 2020 and the pandemic and everything just threw people into a curve. So we're looking at the nuts and bolts of this, Allan. We were talking off the air about, storage becomes an issue. Well,
yes. So when my daughter came home, she came home from college, and so she had all of this storage, and now we have the baby. So we have baby toys all over the house. So every closet is stuffed with storage and boxes and baby items all over the house. So now we don't have anywhere to put anything, because once the children were gone, we redid everything. We had all of our guest rooms all nice and neat and with welcome baskets in it for our guests to come and stay.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, boy. Okay.
And so now we go into one of the guest rooms, and we're like, where is the welcome basket? Like, everything in the welcome basket, your children have gotten that and started using it.
Oh, boy. Well, here's what I'm thinking of. So, these great plastic tubs. I mean, they're pretty hardy, and you can stack them really well.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of those. I think we sent some of those off with my daughter to college and everything. But I'm thinking, folks, if you're in this situation, don't just stack them up and put them anywhere, because, if you've got attic space or if you've got garage space, you got to think about. Just imagine if you took this tub and put it in an environment that's like 150 degrees, because it might be that hot in your attic at times. So you got to think about those things too, right?
Yes. So if we have those tubs also, you may want to label them as well. Make sure you label what's in the tubs.
Label and date.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Put a date on that thing.
Because when it's time to go and dig through that stuff and you haven't labeled it or dated it, it's like a nightmare. My husband is like dreading going in the attic to look for anything. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Anytime anybody's looking for their Christmas decorations or whatever in those boxes, it seems like every year you're like, that's the thing. So,
well, John, I'm gonna look at you for a second and go, all right, we my favorite phrase is admit your lifestyle, and you're the poster child of it. You took a dining room, made a yoga studio out of it.
Yeah.
And your family couldn't have been happier.
Yeah, we had a dining room, Dmetrieve, that nobody used ever. It sat there. We had this giant table in there, and I mean, I'm not proud of it, but we just didn't use it. We're not the kind where we just sit around and, which I wish we were, but we're just not. So basically, what we did is I sold that table, or I think I donated it, whatever. I got rid of it, and I built a really, it's you could still seat 6 people around it, but it's with bar stools, and it's in the corner. So if we ever do want to use it, we can pull it out. But now that whole room is and there's a sunroom connected. That's now my wife's workout studio, and she does personal training, and she trains people with yoga, and it overlooks our backyard, which is like an acre of property.
Well,
so
that's wonderful.
We took a space that was completely dead and not used into creative space. So you all might have to start doing that. You might have to convert space that you weren't necessarily maybe the play area is your dining room.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to have to give up my girly room. I have a girly room. It's all girlied out. And I think I may have to give that up for a playroom.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well,
keep the toy explosion contained a little bit.
Yes, because right now we have toys everywhere.
Now my question is Grandma adding to the toy issue?
Yes.
So you're contributing to the problem.
I am contributing to the problem.
I've seen a recent FaceTime conversation between you and a certain very small person.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew who was winning that conversation. Because he is absolutely adorable.
Well, thank you.
He is so cute.
Adorable. Yes, he is. I can't help it.
Well, I don't know. Did you all have a conversation? Because to me, Allan, I'm more of a nuts and bolts person. If this was going to happen in my house, I would probably want to have that frank, straightforward discussion about, okay, look, this is what life's going to be like. Let's at least try to make this as, let's lay some ground rules. In other words, did you all do that, or did you just kind of, oh, come on home, honey, and
yeah, it was just like, come on home, honey, and hope for the best. But honestly, my daughter, she is wonderful. She's very responsible and respectful of the house. So I didn't see that I needed to have that conversation up front. But then the grandbaby came, and then that kind of took over there. So then then you need to have a conversation more so then, because there's another little person that's involved then.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that conversation. It was kind of like, and honestly, we thought we had enough space. We really thought we had enough space until she got there. And we realized that we didn't have enough space. So.
Well, do you have any like multi-purpose rooms now? Like, do you have rooms that are, serving more than one? No,
we don't. But that's a good idea. I was listening to you about what your wife did, and I'm thinking that that's something that we may have to look into doing.
Okay. The other thing I would say, because I don't know if people immediately think of this, but they have these different storage rental units, Allan. I think that's not a bad option. Just say, look, what can we live without for right now? I'll just pay a month-to-month thing, and usually they're pretty reasonable, and you can even get climate-controlled ones, which I think makes a lot of sense. So.
Yeah, well, my husband, he's a hoarder.
There it is. It's out now.
He's a hoarder, so he shops and buys different things. So having to do without some things would be a tough conversation to have, because we have the garage loaded up as well as the attic in every closet.
I don't know. Boy, it's a dicey scenario that you're laying out. I feel like we need to be about solutions here. On Tool Talk, Allan. So
I'm gonna flip it on its head and go. With the pandemic and again the storms and the weather and all that stuff, it's not just kids coming home.
That's true.
A lot of folks have siblings and parents that are being displaced temporarily or for an extended period of time. And, that's, like you said, you got your house all empty nested.
Yes.
And now it was your house. And, and if you didn't feel like, getting out of the bunny slippers, you didn't get out of the bunny slippers.
Right.
And, well, now, you're back to that tight little space where you got to be done and presentable and all that before you walk out. So
okay.
But the one thing I want to throw in is the safety changes and the amount of logistics at, we finally got the kids out of the house so we could finally buy all those nice vases we wanted. Well, now those nice vases are going in the pod.
That is true.
Because they're going to get tanked because there's the cat on the loose, the baby on the loose.
That is true.
Grandpa's walker's on the loose from personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
I will freely tell you my walker took up a lot more room than I did.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll tell you this too, since Allan, you don't have kids, but I do. Dmetrieve, I've got 4 kids.
Oh, wow.
So one thing, this sounds silly, folks, but especially if you're a couple with a newborn and you need to get on your hands and knees. I'm not kidding. Look at the world. Look at your home from about 2 feet high, and you will see things in a different way because that's your children's height. You're going to see corners on coffee tables that are suddenly look pretty sinister. You're going to see all sorts of edges, and you want to look at it from their perspective, especially in this situation.
Yeah, that's very true. And as well as with your parents coming back home too, there's different things that you can put in place with that. And if you can convert some things to smart things around the house that will help with cameras, if you have your parents that are going to be staying there, lights popping off and on and things like that. Those are all great to have, so when your parents are coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I knew we'd get techie somehow. So we're going to continue the discussion. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break and then continue our discussion about re-nesting.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
The baler can flatten a car engine. It can cut off your arm and crush your entire body without skipping a beat. How many people a year do you think get their arms cut off in a baler?
Baler? I hardly know her.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
The real question is, how many car engines has Allan thrown into the baler? That's what I want to see. Forget your arm getting ripped off. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And speaking of my friend Allan Gilbreth, real quick, Allan, what's cooking with Geeky Side TV? It's always something new.
Well, of course, we have the infamous Scott J. Carroll story times, which are just the runaway big hit right now.
He's funny.
Oh, he is an unusual individual. To put it mildly.
Right.
However, the big hit right now is, of course, the Scary Stories with Kalila, our beloved tour guide in New Orleans that does all the haunted tours, has got a variety of guests coming on and telling her their very real scary stories.
Perfect time of year for that.
They just go to geekysidetv.com and click on Scary Stories, and you can watch the interviews.
And if you're a content creator and you want to be a big TV star, get in touch with Allan. He may put you on. So
that could hook you up.
And while we're talking about ourselves, I just want to remind everybody else: if let's suppose you need something made out of wood for the outside of your home. Because, I'm a carpenter, Allan. I think I've mentioned that.
Yeah, you and I might have built a few things over the years, Joe.
Yeah, if you need a deck or a patio cover. I'm doing a lot of patio covers and screened-in porches these days. People really love those. It's almost like adding living space to your outside, because suddenly now you've got a place you can eat dinner out there without getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. Or, if you need a fence, anything made out of wood for the outside of your home, give me a call at 901-921-7105 or go to my website, thorshomes.com. And also, I want to remind people, if you are a contractor out there, Allan, we're on the hunt. And,
we are.
The station here, I was talking to our GM. He was telling us about how great the station's actually going. News Talk 98.9 is a fairly new dynamic. We've only been on the air since
July.
The 4th of July.
Yeah, we're brand new.
And but the Tool Talk world is building, and we want to gather a group of experts, home improvement experts. So if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, if you are somebody that would like to showcase what you do and also help us add expert content to Tool Talk, give me a call at 901-921-7105, and maybe we can get you on the Tool Talk radio team. Okay, so we're visiting with our buddy Dmetrieve Mahan. Did I pronounce your last name right?
You did.
It's funny because my name it's Joe, which is easy, and then my last name Thorderson. I have to spell it. My whole life I've had to spell it, but you're kind of the reverse, right? You got to spell your first name.
That first name is it's a
doozy.
It
yeah,
is.
I couldn't. Allan had to spell it 3 times, and I finally got it right. But so you're in a situation where your daughter's moved home temporarily. You hear that, daughter? Temporarily. You're empty nesters. You and your husband are chugging along, just rocking out, having a fun, post child lifestyle.
Living the dream.
And suddenly your daughter brings the grandbaby home, which it sounds like obviously you love,
Yes,
that's exciting. But it sounds like there's also there's cautionary tales. There's things to think about, Allan. And we want this situation to be as positive as it can, and also, but you also don't necessarily want it to last. Right? Is that kind of the balance here?
Yes, and she knows that. She has a plan to graduate college and then purchase a home and all of that stuff. But we want her to be able to do all of that before she leaves home.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to have a good foundation, and obviously, you want that. I'm in the same boat. I would much rather have my kids there saving their money and getting ready to to get out on their own.
Because when they leave, you want them to be able to to stay gone,
right?
If they can, So you want to give them all the tools that they need so that they are successful out.
Well, see, my thought about this, Dmetrieve, is this is a good opportunity. A lot of times, I'm a firm believer that when this pandemic finally is done, or I hope it is at one point, I feel like we're all going to come out of this better because we've had to do creative thinking. Had to think.
I agree.
I think somebody in your situation could come out of this a lot better. I feel like you're going to learn to prioritize the space in your home. There's probably things you're going to benefit from,
yes,
right?
Most definitely. Prioritizing time as well as space in the home. And just appreciating your family a little bit more also, too. It's good.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, and actually, maybe there's people where this would actually benefit them if you have families where you don't talk as much as you should, or
yes,
you're sort of forced to interact. So.
You have to get along.
Well, that's why Joe is building all those porches now.
Right, extra space to do. Well, I'm just, that's a good point. I'm wondering, is this a time to do? If you were going to do that, no, I would say if you're going to do that addition, this is probably not the time to do it because that just adds one more level of
it does
stress, I guess.
It does, but we actually have an addition coming up next year. It's putting an in-ground pool in. And
she's never going to leave if you do that.
for the grandbaby.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, now that's a safety thing, so it's both. Then you'd have to. Yeah. Oh boy, I don't know.
So, all right, let's kind of recap. So, the house denest.
Yes.
So you get all those safety devices off, all of the stuff. The teenagers are now gone. So let's just talk about the food bill that week. You get a teenager out of the house, and I mean, the food bill goes from hundreds of dollars to like $25.
Right.
Right. And the cookies, you get to eat cookies again because they stay in the cabinet.
Cookies and ice cream.
Max, did you make note? It wouldn't be a Tool Talk show if Allan didn't make a food reference. That's the way we always do it.
But the safety devices are off. The cabinets swing freely now. And how long did you get this little bit of utopia?
I think we had maybe a year. Which seemed like 6 months to us.
A year is nothing. That goes by in a heartbeat.
Right. And it was just like a blink of an eye and we were back,
And now you're back to the cabinets with the clips.
Yes. And not only did we have the re-nesting, we had the pandemic to hit also.
Right.
So we're all just stuck in the house with each other.
Well, and we can't undersell the fact that so many things aren't functioning the way they did 5 years ago.
Yes.
5 years ago it was really easy to just kind of like, well, we're going to get in the car and go. Well, there may not be open now.
Yes, true.
And I run into this in the darndest things, just a simple, the simple convenience of a drive-through.
That's true.
You pull up and maybe they're there and maybe they're not these days. the simple matter of ordering something online. Well, maybe they've got the parts and maybe they don't.
Yeah, so it's forcing us to be more innovative, and
we're looking at our homes differently now. So the thought that is, if you're not re-nesting, you might want to walk around the house and think, what would happen if mom and dad suddenly had to come home, or what would happen if one of the neighbors' houses, something were to happen to it.
Well, I'll tell you something else. You mentioned something before the break, I think, Dmetrieve, about being a little more high tech. One thing that we did not have when my kids were growing up was basically a smartphone and an app where you get some cameras. There's so many good options that Brown Refrigeration has great smart home options. But are you all taking advantage of some of that?
Yes, we have Arlo camera. We use the Nest camera as well. And we have the home kit, like the Apple iPod home kit, where you actually have all the speakers throughout the home and all of that. And all of that works really well with the thermostat. With having children back home, the utility bill is up and down, and this kind of regulates upstairs and downstairs, and we can do this all from our phone. Or if we leave the home, it resets the temperature in the home, and as we return home, it resets the temperature. So that kind of helps keep our utility service bill at a minimum with having them home.
And it's the peace of mind. I mean, it's just like if you're well, to be honest, I would have loved this too, because if you've got the camera, especially if they do like the night vision, Allan, or something like that, and you're wondering if the baby's awake, you don't have to get up and check. You just pull your phone up next from the bedside.
Right.
And I promise Grandma has done this a few times.
You'll get high tech real quick when it's.
Yes. And even with shutting the televisions off and on, because the kids, they leave the televisions running all day. You can have it set where it just shuts that television off and on as well. So it's been tremendous in terms of keeping things minimized at home with having those high-tech solutions there.
And of course, Allan, the psychological torment possibilities are great, because you could be, if the TV's too loud and you're trying to go to bed, you just pull up your phone and click off that
and you just hit
outlet.
the button, or you tell Siri to do it, and they'll turn it off and turn it on for you. Yeah.
Nothing like self-haunting your own house.
That's what I'm wondering. Are we going to
Welcome
get
to
into
Halloween?
That? Yeah, you get all these calls about people thinking their house is haunted.
That's
Allan.
true.
Maybe it's just their smart app is malfunctioning.
Well, I was sitting there thinking, I need to get a couple of burner phones with the right apps on them, and I could hide them in your house and just make you crazy.
Yeah.
As I look at Joe and go,
Yeah.
And I bet I could talk a couple of your kids into helping.
Okay. That's I don't doubt it at all. But so Dmetrieve, what would you say to people out there that are maybe concerned about this? Like, what conversations would you have with your friends if they say, "Hey, this is what's about to happen in the next couple of weeks"? What would you say?
Well, I would definitely, if I could do it differently, I would definitely have that conversation with, whomever it's going to be, whether it's your parents that's going to be coming or your children returning home, to make sure that you have that conversation on the front end regarding personal space and storage, what they can bring in and what you have room for, and lay down some ground rules and things like that, especially having a plan to know, how long they're going to be there, what's the plan for them, where they're going to stay, where it's the most comfortable for them to be in the home, and how to create that space with you and your family that's going to be there. So you can have some personal space in there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think in this world, and especially in this situation, communication is the whole key. I know with projects I do, is if you just have that conversation, then there's no resentment, there's no confusion, there's no, I don't know. It solves a lot of problems, and it minimizes the drama, because I'm all about not inviting drama into my life.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right.
Yeah.
No drama.
Yeah. So, but it's going well.
It's going pretty good. It's going well. Again, we love having the grandbaby there, and I'm almost sad that the time is going to come for for them to leave, to be honest with you. So,
oh boy,
yeah.
Well, you get used to it again.
Yeah, you get used to them being around, and so it's a good thing. But you almost a little bit sad that they have to leave. But
you're forming bonds, and the nice thing is the grandson is going to be used to your house. So when when he visits, I don't know. I think in the long run, this is going to pay off. It's gonna be worth it. So.
Yeah.
But again, it takes some planning and some getting used to and getting over the shock of it.
Yes, definitely.
It's amazing how quick you get over something and how quick it can come back.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is an interesting dynamic. If you are in a situation like this, send us a message at our Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and let us know if you got tips for Dmetrieve. Let her know.
Yeah.
So, but Dmetrieve, it's fun having you on the air, and I think we're gonna have you back at some point. This was cool.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So you've been listening to another action-packed episode of Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. But time waits for no one. It's time to get out of here, Allan. So on behalf of our producer, Max, my buddy Allan Gilbreth, and our guest, Dmetrieve Mahan, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.